What is up, you beautiful viewers? My name's Woke, I'm an artist from Connecticut, and in today's video, we're going to be going to a graffiti paint jam in Hartford called the Hart Jam. So quick backstory on this, I was painting my Darkwing Duck wall and I overheard about this event and I applied way too late, and I was told that no disrespect, but the only spot left was the piss wall. I take no offense, it's my fault that I am applying so late, but luckily I was able to get the crew involved and we are all going to be painting at the Hart Jam, which is tomorrow. So I got to start drawing. I got two things against me. One is that it's the piss wall, and the other is that I just got my whole arm kind of brushed over and re-tattooed today. So we're going to see how this goes. Quick shout out to Timmy B and Lindsay Baker for doing this for me. And now we're going to hit the iPad. I actually got a shot of the wall sent over from the promoter that's putting it on. So I'm going to put that into my iPad and draw over it and take you guys on the adventure now. As always, I'm using Procreate on my iPad Pro, and I decided to create a crazy looking little monkey character. I always like to start by roughing out some shapes and creating a layout that I'm happy with. You could see in this case I added the painter's pole at first, and by the end of the video I ended up removing it because I thought it just became too cluttered and interfered with the hat being on the head. It was just too much in that area. So these are decisions that get made during my drawing process. Once I'm happy with my layout, I can then fine line everything using the technical pen under inking. And then from there, I can print out my reference, bring that to the wall, and map it out. Okay, my artwork is all done. The character is ready. I'm just going to print this out, and then I can bring that to the wall and map it all out tomorrow.
Down here at the piss spot, and it smells like piss. It's also pretty chilly because it is not in the sun today, but let's get this wall prepped and get going.
At this point, I am turning the piss spot into a doo-doo brown spot.
The wall is all prepped behind me. Let's get a sketch on it.
I always like to start by finding my center point. From there, I make a small T shape and envision a grid of 4 blocks on the wall. This helps me to envision where the proportions of the character will fall. I also want to point out that this spray paint that I'm using is just some super old scrap can that is, I don't know if it's Rust-Oleum or Painter's Touch or something that's super expired and drippy, so excuse the sloppiness. It's just me laying in a foundation. It's all gonna get covered anyways. I wasn't sure how many people to expect at this jam, but I knew that I wanted to just get there early and get everything mapped out so that when people came by and, you know, if anyone wanted to stop and talk or I saw old friends, it would be more relaxed and I wouldn't be so stressed. But in the end, I always end up getting stressed and just rushing the characters. It happens. I gotta say, I was definitely happy with the turnout for the event. A lot of people, a lot of old faces, met a lot of new people. At one point I ended up signing in a bunch of sketchbooks, so that was really nice. And yeah, I don't know. It was just a really good time. And I went back a day later and got some great footage of everything so that you guys can see. And that way I don't have everyone's face while they're painting. So definitely stick around for that. Okay, as of now, I got it loosely mapped out. I'm waiting for one of the guys from the crew to bring a ladder so I can get the taller part done. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting on that, I think I'm just going to clean up the lines that I have mapped out so far. Quick change of plans. I don't feel like waiting on a ladder, so let's just start putting some color in this character. Now that the ladder was here, I was finally able to get all of the high portion knocked out. You guys should know by now, I always like to knock out the top stuff first because A, it's just a huge pain to get done up and down a ladder, but B, just in case there's drips or anything that fall on the rest of the piece, you're going to go over those later anyways, so it makes sense for me at least to work from top to bottom. But occasionally, sometimes I like to bang out the bottom portion so that I leave the center for last, just so it's the easiest part when I've exerted all my energy on climbing down to the ground or climbing up to the tall parts. It's definitely good to pay attention to what works for you, find that formula, and always just repeat it. The way I see it is it's kind of like cooking. If you follow the recipe, you're going to have a good outcome. The way my recipe usually works is by basing color into large sections with usually a mid-tone, and then I add some highlights on top of that color. From there I go in with my line work and occasionally add more contrast or cutbacks to my lines. To do these eyes, I'm going to start by basing them with a dark green color. From there, I'm going to add a lighter green, softly blended around the pupil area. I continue to add lighter tones of green on top of that, and then mapped in the pupil using black. I also want to make note that I left in the shadow cast from the eyelid and the eyebrow, so there's a darker section on the top portion. From there, I mapped out the eyelashes using a can of black, and then popped a little highlight into the eye using the color Spring from Montana Black, and then a white highlight to make it look glossy, and the final touch was with the stencil cap to add a dark green line around the iris. I was also asked to sign a bunch of black books during this event, which was super fun. But I apologize if they didn't come out that great. I was very pressed for time, so these were just some quick marker sketches that were super fun to do. So thank you guys for asking, and sorry they weren't better, but I did what I could in the time provided. I was super nervous to sign this book because there were so many talented legends in this book, and Twice kept messing with me the entire time I was trying to sign this. You'll see in one sec. He would not leave me alone, but that's what friends do, I guess. And at one point he asked me, "What's on the other page? Did it bleed through?" And we laughed because it was a PG 183 piece that I definitely would not have wanted to disrespect. So I am so glad it didn't go through. Props to Tats Crew. Everything you guys do is phenomenal. So thank you. So glad it didn't bleed through. And now let's get this character done. And now, as promised, a couple of the pieces from the event. And here's some of the guys from the crew. We all tried to do a matching color scheme that Twice made up. This is Scope's piece on the left right here. This is Queso's piece on the right. And Twice painted around the back corner with me in the piss spot.
All right, it's been a hell of a day, but I think I'm done. So here it is, the final product.
As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the continued support. You guys rock. You might notice I'm in a hotel right now. Important to know your safety exits. Why am I in a hotel? You're gonna have to stick around to find out. As far as other important news, you might notice I dropped a new t-shirt. This is the Wendy's Woke shirt. I also have a new sticker pack. The sticker of this shirt is in this pack, as well as a bunch of other ones that you can see on the back here. And you can find this all at kbuart.com. I want to give another quick shout out to Skin Paper Paint Magazine. You guys got to check that out. Might see my name pretty big there. I'm pretty stoked on that. So I'm very happy to be a part of this issue. I believe there's a 8-page write-up about my work. I'm not going to show you guys too much, but yeah, there's a few pages there. This magazine is loaded with awesome content. And lastly, huge thank you to my first paid Patreon, Amanda. Thank you to everyone that signed up so far, but Amanda, special thanks to you for being my first paid Patreon. If you guys want to follow along and see all the content that I drop before everyone else can see it, be sure to go to woke.one on Patreon. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.